Hello, welcome to this your channel, the better Eurofan, that's me. It seemed that Iceland was recovering their path in the competition, until they experienced another flop during last year's contest. The acrobatic and strong proposal presented by Lilia did not convince enough to the audience despite her powerful voice, unfortunately, remaining close to qualification. Despite of it, the Nordic country does not lose neither the enthusiasm nor the chances to keep trying, being confident on achieving a first victory very soon. We will see now to the next artist, which is a very well-known face by the way, who has took the baton from Haga to wave the Icelandic colors in Moon. Here we go. For today's episode, I'm going to review the Icelandic entry for Eurovision 2024, which has been represented by singer Hera Björk with the song Scared of Heights. First of all, let's review about her biography and career before leaving the Eurovision experience for the second time as the main artist. Hera Björk Torhansdottir, mostly well known by her two names, is an Icelandic pop singer coming from the country's capital, Reykjavik. She gets involved with performing arts since very little, featuring in television acts, performing in plays, and even she had a participation in a collective children's album at the age of 12. In 1988, she will have her beginnings as a singer in a local talent show, and the following year she will begin her singing studies in the Reykjavik Academy of Singing and Vocal Arts. Her time in the academy will allow her to build herself a path in musical theater, standing out her participations in Rocky Horror Show, Evita or Little Shop of Horrors. Towards late 1990s, she will start to get widely noticed in her native country by being the hostess in a very well-known variety show in the local television, which will help her to have her first connections with Eurovision. And it is because she had a small participation during 1999 in the official music video of the Icelandic entry for the contest, featured that time by singer Selma, representing the country for the first time with the song All Out Luck in the edition held in Jerusalem, Israel. That experience will bring her more connections in the musical industry of the country, and then she releases her debut studio album 1 year later, although in this case a Christmas one with carols in Icelandic. During the following year, she would release some singles, until she moves to Denmark in 2004 to improve her singing studies in the renowned Complete Vocal Institute, achieving also the teaching component with her grade, with which she will teach master classes in singing throughout all Europe. In the other hand, stands out her participation that same year as part of a choir in the conceptual studio album Medulla by renowned Icelandic artist Björk, which is particularly known for its songs performed solely and exclusively a cappella without any instrumentation. A couple of years later, in 2006, she will release her second studio album, where stands out among the songs featured in the album the Icelandic version of the song Alvedansen, which in English translates as the Elven Dance, having been the Norwegian entry that same year at Eurovision in the edition held on Athens, Greece, and having the title of Alpha Dance. From here, Hera will start to get more serious in her attempts to go to Eurovision, as we will see up next. In 2007, she will make her first attempt to represent her country at the contest by participating in the then Icelandic national final song Make Misjón Barnsins. She will do it with the song Mig Dreamdi, which in English translates as I Have Dreamed. But however, she will not advance from the semi-finals round. Despite her failed attempt, her participation will enable her song collaborations with the Icelandic public broadcaster, starting to experience what it is to be at the Eurovision stage, but in a slight different way. In 2008, during the time she was part of a Christmas vocal group for some time, Hera will be one of the backing singers for the duo Eurofan, who represented the country in the edition held on Belgrade, Serbia, having placed 14th. Curiously, by the following year, in 2009, she will make another attempt to participate at Eurovision, but this time for Denmark, having been selected as one of the contestants for the mythical Dance Melody Grand Prix, the well-known Danish national final. In that time, she will perform the song Someday, with which she was close to get the victory, having placed second behind this Danish singer Brink, who ended up representing another country during the edition held in Moscow, Russia. Despite the fact that she almost won, Hera will have another chance to go to the Russian capital, as she will reprise her participation as a backing singer, this time for Johanna, who was the Icelandic representative during that time and having reached a very outstanding second place. Not satisfied with having been in 2 consecutive editions of the contest, she will remain decided to keep trying to lead the experience on first hand. Then she will make another attempt for her native country by participating in the Icelandic national final with the song Je ne sais quoi. With this proposal, she will finally get the victory, gaining the right to attend the contest after 2 attempts, and this time being at the front of the stage, going to the contest held in Oslo, Norway, where she will place 19 despite being one of the big favorites during that year. Her first participation at the contest also coincided with the release of her studio album, casually named after her entry performing in the Nordic country, and that was widely promoted with a tour by many European countries. The year 2011 will also be outstanding for her, as she will be the songwriter and performer of the song Finum Astina, mostly well known for its English version Feel the Love Tonight, the latter one used as the official LGBTI pride anthem during that year in many European countries. A couple of years later, she will literally travel to one end of the world to the other one, as she will participate in the 54th edition of the renowned Viña del Mar International Song Festival, which is celebrated in the coastal city of Viña del Mar in Chile. She will be featured in the International Artist category, competing with the song Because You Can, where she will end up winning in her category, and also being the first Icelandic performer to win the Silver Sea, one of the most prestigious awards in the musical festival. After her victory, she will also release the Spanish version of the song titled Tu Poder. That same year, she will also release her 4th studio album, which will be the second part of her first Christmas album, performing more carols featuring other artists from the Icelandic musical scene, and also joined by a 50-people choir group. In 2015, she would repeat once again the Eurovision experience as a backing singer with the singer Maria Olafsdottir, who represented Iceland in the edition held in Vienna, Austria. And then later in 2019, she will make a 3rd attempt to represent her country by participating in the current Icelandic national final Songkeppnin with the song Eitt Andartak, moving on its English version. But this time she will end up placing 4th in the final show, having won the band Hatari that time, until in the edition held in Tel Aviv, Israel. She will keep participating in many musical events in the following years, although having a lower profile, and releasing some singles independently. In the other hand, her legs with Eurovision does not fade with the years, and it is because somehow she always has been in touch with her Eurofans, as she is usually invited to perform in many of the Eurovision pre-parties organized every season. Apart from her musical career, Hera is actually married with children. In fact, her daughter is following her steps in music. She has a degree in business and marketing. She also works as a real estate agent, and she likes to get involved in initiatives for animal welfare. Even she has a dog, which is her loyal companion. It is true that she has had an extensive career with a lot of experience on her back, keeping a special devotion to the contest, because as she has stated herself, she has been a loyal follower since ever. And even with all these years passed after her participation in Oslo, she is still being received with much love from the public wherever she performs. Hera has expressed many times her desire to step the Eurovision stage again, but at the same time wanted to do it in the right time with the right song. In fact, precisely on last year, those conditions were met to decide on trying it one more time. Let's see what was the outcome for what it will be her 5th attempt. Following the habit, the Icelandic public broadcaster will organize another edition of their national final Songkeppnin, which arrived to its 30th edition, to pick both the artists and the song that would represent the country in Sweden. The submission period was open in mid-June of last year for the Icelandic artists and songwriters who wanted to send their proposals, closing it by early September of last year. From this open submission, 118 proposals will be received according to the broadcaster, representing a slight decrease compared to the previous edition, while in the other hand, the broadcaster had the right to invite established artists to take part in the national final. The 10 selected artists will be officially revealed in late last January, in which one of them, the Palestinian singer Bashar Murad, will be announced 3 days before the official presentation of the contestants in the national final, becoming the big favorite to win, and 10 later Hera will be among the remaining selected contestants. All the participating songs will be officially released a day after the announcement. About the format, it will remain technically similar like in previous editions, although shortly before the reveal of the contestants, there was an unprecedented situation. For the very first time in the history of the national final, the broadcaster decided to cut its links with Eurovision, leaving their participation uncertain, alleging that they will take the decision together with the winning artist from the national final. This was due to all the criticism from the Icelandic society because of the participation of Israel for the edition of this year, with the welfare and the humanitarian crisis still ongoing by the latter one in the Gaza Strip, with them receiving petitions to boycott the event, or even requesting the withdrawal of the country from the contest. Anyway, it was to be seen what it will be the outcome from all the situation, and for the moment the organization of the national final was still ongoing. Hera will make her first appearance in the second semi-final, performing her entry in Icelandic title Bid for Hera, being the second most voted artist and 10 qualifying to the final show. 10 later, during the final show which took place in early last March as it is usual, all the finalists will perform their song in the languages in which they will do it in case of representing the country at Eurovision, with Hera doing it in English in this case. For the first round of voting, Bashar Murad and Hera will be the ones that will advance to the super final, after being the 2 most voted artists from both the jury and the public. 10 later in the second round, which will be voted solely by the public, Hera will get the victory for the second time against all odds, giving the surprise with an adjusted 50.8% after the reveal of the full results. But the subject doesn't end there, because there were reports through many social media about possible technical issues with the voting hour during the final show, specifically during the super final. In this sense, the broadcaster requested an independent investigation to clarify the incident. Although many days after the final show, it was concluded that there were not really any issues with the voting process, alleging that the incidents reported were a few exceptional cases, and the results were fully valid, so Hera will still remain as the winner. However, the final decision of participating on Eurovision or not was delayed even to the very last moment. In the final days for sending the entries for the contest, the broadcaster finally opted to move forward with its participation. Therefore, Hera will finally gain the right of representing Iceland once again on the main stage of Malmö. A track that gives you vertigo, at least in a metaphorical sense. Let's see a little more about this proposal with which Hera has attended the contest this time. Staying true to her musical style, the melody is a dance pop track with reminiscences from 1970s disco music. The vocal skills from Hera, by the way, are absolutely unquestionable, having proved them thousands of times throughout her musical career. The lyrics have been written by a group of songwriters. Both the Icelandic version she performed at the semi-final in Sambakefning and the English version she will perform at the contest. About the context behind it, it talks about how complex love and relationships could be, associating them in this case with metaphors referring to the heights and the fear of falling. From here the song's title. Reading the lyrics more in detail, you can realize that all those fears from heights come from failed love relationships suffered in the past. Then be cautious and careful on who you open up your true feelings. The message that it intends to transmit is quite universal, by portraying the suffering and the fear we all have had sometime, by opening our hearts to someone else, especially if it was broken by another person before. But like any obstacle we have to face in life, you got to overcome those fears and find the strength to overcome them, giving ourselves another chance to love again. Having revealed more about the song, now I'm going to analyze her live performance in the national final, which serves in this case as the official music video for the proposal. At first, the stage is seen empty with white smoke over the stage floor, where the phrase for the song's intro appears in the leg screen at the bottom of the stage, while alternating with close-ups of Hera being from the side initially. For the first verse, she then turns to the front, while there is a tenuous and warm lightning behind her, and then later with the first chorus the scene changes, now seeing the stage again with smoke columns, this time with Hera going to the front of the stage, and the backing singers appearing at the bottom of the stage, with a stepped platform also seen. The lighting is predominantly white, while the visual graphics show lighted panels in perspective and a burst of bright stars, with Hera wearing a red outfit with sequins and a sort of tail, and the backing singers wearing classic black outfits. The dynamic remains during the second verse, with Hera walking often to the front of the stage, standing on a shelf from above her, making a contrast with the visual graphics of the left screens of the stage floor, looking herself like she's in an elevator place close to an abyss, matching precisely with those vertical sensations that can be felt with heights. With the second chorus, the visual graphics are much more dynamic, in line with extensible rhythm, keeping the same dynamic in the performance. And then during the bridge she turns back to go to the stepped platform as seen in the beginning, going to the top of it. By the final chorus, the backing singers surround her while being heard in the platform, while there are sparkle columns and having then a very festive attitude. Shortly after, in the song's outro, she gets down to the platform again with the help of one of the backing singers to go to the front of the stage again, time progressively getting almost dark itself, keeping a close-up on her, thus finishing the performance. Before attending the contest, as many of her fellow contestants from the edition, she has been performing her entry in many of the Eurovision parties of the season, a pretty familiar environment for her, and that she does not disappoint at all in terms of her live performances. Now, for the staging in Momo, as it could be seen during the first rehearsals, she will be in a step platform much bigger compared to the one used in the national final, making a change in the lighting using red and orange tones. In the other hand, Hera will wear a much flashy golden outfit, with its sleeves full of long fringes, which outstand every time she moves together with the lighting of the stage. However, I did not have a clue at first if the backing singers will be at the stage with her as well, so we have to wait to see if they will be featured on the stage, or if they will use pre-recorded backing vocals. Watching her live performance in the first semi-final, this had many similarities with the one done in the national final, although in this case she has been more time in the step platform. The visual graphics will also slightly vary, by using triangular shapes and silhouettes of people dancing, especially by the chorus. And there is also a combination of regular spotlights and laser spotlights throughout the performance. Unlike the national final, the backing singers will appear by the bridge of the song, moment used by Hera to go back to the step platform, then noticing that it starts to rise up in the tone with the final chorus, together with sparkle columns seen at the bottom of the stage. The closure will be pretty similar, with the stage almost getting dark, and with a close-up on her, then finishing the performance. I have seen her performance pretty right. You cannot deny that her vocal performance is just flawless. But the problem is that the proposal itself did not say that much. Maybe it was too abstract for the contest discussing the song. And probably the public had the same feeling as well, because after the reveal of the final results, she will end up receiving just 3 points, unfortunately placing last in her semi-final. Making a summary of all the comments, the Icelandic entry for this year was not too memorable and maybe a bit disappointing. In this respect, I have two interpretations of what ultimately happened this time. In one hand, there is what happened in the national final initially, the early reveal of Bashar Murad 3 days before the rest of the contestants. by the fact of being the only Palestinian singer in the competition meant a certain declaration of intent, with all the commotion that was already happening because of the controversy with the participation of Israel at the contest. It was known that he was a clear favorite to win the national final, which would have been an authentic feat in the case that happened. And it is because until the super final, he was leading the scores both in his semi-final and in the first round of the final show. But in the other hand, something changed in the super final, as the public, instead of massively voting to Bashar as expected, the voting ended very adjusted between him and Hera, with the latter one eventually achieving the victory without very narrow margin and effectively giving the surprise. My interpretation from this is that somehow they wanted to avoid a higher conflicting moment, without having in mind, of course, all the events and incidents that finally happened during the week of the contest. And they opted instead to play safe, giving the consent to Hera to repeat the experience, being her also very well known among the Eurofans. But the big problem was precisely the proposal presented by her this time, because despite having a universal message, it got pretty unnoticed, and comparisons were not mixed with her participation 14 years ago with the song Je ne sais quoi, which even sounded much more modern and had much better perspective in comparison with her current proposal. The result was not positive once again for the Nordic country, chaining a second consecutive disqualification and also registering the worst historic result for a former representative of the contest. I do not know if this will suppose a turning point in Hera's musical career, although she has stated that despite the result, she has truly enjoyed the experience, which also considers unforgettable. Maybe she will take a quick break before getting back again. Who knows if by releasing new music or by doing other different projects. And you? What do you think about the Icelandic entry for this year? Leave your comments down below so we can keep up the discussion. And this is it for today's episode. Before I finish, give a like to this video if it was of your taste, then you can help me to spread it to more people. You can also subscribe to my channel, enable notifications by the bell, and find me through my social media. Take care and see you again in the next episode. Bye bye.